Hello Pinnacle Babies, our future CPAs. We'll discuss auditing final pre-board. So out of 70 items, meron tayong 65 theories and 5 items for problem solving. Para efficient yung discussion natin, babasahin ko yung question and I'll go straight to the final answer. For the problem solving naman, sinulat ko na yung solution on the board. Are you ready? Sige, let's go to number 1. The objective of assurance services is to, so we know answer dito is letter C, enhance decision making. An example of assurance service is audit. Siyempre, yung audited financial statements, mag-a-add ng credibility yan on the FS, maka-help yan sa decision making of the users. Number 2, the objective of a reasonable assurance engagement is a reduction in an assurance engagement risk. Go to letter B, to an acceptably low level in the circumstances of the engagement as a basis for positive form of expression or conclusion. Okay, so letter B for number 2. Number 3, in a practitioner's review of interim financial information, the practitioner typically performs each of the following except, so for the review, yung letter A, C, and D, procedures yan for review, while yung letter B naman, obtaining corroborating external evidence, substantive testing na yan, applicable for audit. So letter B for number 3. Number 4, which of the following best describes why an independent auditor is asked to express an opinion on the fair presentation of the financial statements because of conflict of interest between the management and the users? Letter C, the opinion of an independent party is needed because of a company may not be objective with respect to its own financial statements. So letter C for number 4. Number 5, an abnormal fluctuation in gross profit that might suggest a need for extended audit procedures for sales and inventories would most likely be identified in the planning phase by the use of analytical procedures. Pagka analytical procedures, ratio analysis yan. So letter D for number 5. Number 6, which of the following is a best example of a substantive test? Yung letter A and C, test of controls yan. Yung letter D naman, understanding internal control. Letter B is a substantive test, confirmation of balances of accounts receivable. Number 7, a document that details what the auditor will do to gather sufficient appropriate evidence. So you must detail, ang tawag natin dyan is audit program or audit plan. Letter B for number 7. And number 8, after testing the client's internal control activities, an auditor discovers a number of significant deficiencies in the operation of a client's internal controls. Under these circumstances, the auditor most likely would, so may mga deficiencies sa internal controls, therefore, tataas natin yung control risk, and then, ibababa natin yung detection risk. Pag bababa yung detection risk, mas marami tayong itetest na samples or transactions, so madami yung testing natin, yung tests. Alright? So, letter B, increase the assessment of control risk, and increase the extent of substantive tests. Letter B for number 8. Number 9, an auditor traced a sample of purchase orders and the related receiving reports to the purchases journal and the cash disbursements journal. The purpose of these substantive audit procedures most likely was to, so nangyari tracing from supporting documents to accounting records. Letter A, determine the purchases were properly recorded. Tama naman yan. Letter B, test the existence assertion. Mali yan. Kasi kapag tracing, ang tinetest natin is the completeness assertion. So letter A, yung sagot natin for number 9. Number 10, if the statement of financial position of a company is dated December 31, year 1, the audit report is dated Feb 18, year 2, and both are released on Feb 25, year 2, this indicates that the auditor has searched for subsequent events that occurred up to, so yung responsibility ni auditor for the subsequent events is until the date of the auditor's report. Letter C, Feb 18, year 2. For number 10, letter C. Number 11, during the year, the research department of a pharmaceutical company devoted its entire efforts toward developing a medicine. All research costs, so alam natin, lahat ng research costs, dapat expensed yan, that could be attributed directly to the project were capitalized, so mali na yan, as an asset in the statement of financial position. If the amounts involved are material, the auditor should, so pwedeng qualify their adverse among the choices, and nandyan lang yung adverse, letter C, express an adverse opinion. Number 12, during an audit of an entity's financial statements, an auditor should perform test of controls to obtain sufficient appropriate evidence about the operating effectiveness of relevant controls if, so magti-TOC tayo if, letter C, substantive procedures alone cannot provide sufficient appropriate evidence. So TOC muna, and then substantive testing. Letter C for number 12. Number 13, as a result of your understanding of the client's internal control, you have noted that there might be possible instances of unbilled deliveries to customers. Since the billing department is not keen in monitoring the pre-numbering delivery receipt, an effective procedure to test for these suspected unbilled shipments is to blank This is to support the financial statement assertion of blank over sales and receivables. Sagot ko dito, class, is letter B, trace shipping documents to the sales journal. Kasi unbilled shipments. So, ibig sabihin, hindi natin na-record in sales journal yung debit AR, credit sales. Kapag nagtitrace tayo, tracing, completeness assertion, tinetest natin, letter B for number 13. Number 14, of the following, which is the least persuasive type of audit evidence. So, yung least persuasive dito is letter C, copies of sales invoices inspected by the auditor. Kasi yung sales invoice, internally generated yan, galing kay client. So, yun yung least persuasive sa atin. Number 15, if the financial statements have been prepared using the going concern basis of accounting, but in the auditor's judgment, management's use of going concern is inappropriate. So, siguro dapat liquidating concern instead of going concern. The auditor shall express what type of opinion. So, syempre, kapag affected siya, mali yung ginamit yung basis, affected yung buong FS, most likely. So, letter D tayo, adverse opinion, regardless of whether or not the FS included disclosure of the inappropriateness use of the going concern. Hindi mo gumatter kung dinisclose ng client yan. Mali yung basis, dapat liquidating concern, affected yung buong FS, material and pervasive, adverse opinion, letter D for number 15. Number 16, which of the following statements is or are correct? Number 1, the auditor cannot test controls that leave no audit trail. Kapag walang audit trail, pwede ka ba mag-TOC? Pwede pa, through observation. Number 2, the absence of misstatements detected by substantive procedures provides evidence that internal controls related to the assertion being tested are effective. Mali yan. Hindi substantive procedures. Dapat TOC, test of controls. So neither 1 nor 2, letter D for number 16. Number 17, an unqualified opinion. Punta ka sa letter D, implies that material disagreements between the client entity and the auditor for the period under audit were resolved to the satisfaction of the auditor. Ano ibig sabihin nun? Si auditor, nakakita siya ng mga material misstatements. Pero, willing naman si client na i-adjust yung financial statements. So, kaya nakalagay dyan, ni-resolve daw to the satisfaction of the auditor. Kapag ganyan, unqualified opinion, letter D for number 17. Number 18, when the FS contain material but not pervasive. So, alam natin, kapag material but not pervasive, qualified opinion. Letter A, express a qualified opinion and describe the matter giving rise to the modification in a separate paragraph. Letter A tayo. Okay? Yung separate paragraph, yun yung basis for opinion. Number 19, in assessing sampling risk, the risk of incorrect rejection and risk of assessing control is too high. So, kapag risk of incorrect rejection, ang conclusion natin is misstated pero hindi pala. Ibig sabihin, class, magpe-perform ka ng unnecessary audit procedures pa, therefore makaka-affect siya sa efficiency of the audit. Letter B for number 19. Number 20, Statement 1, the preliminary assessment of control risk is the process of evaluating the effectiveness of the internal control. So, mali na agad, efficiency nakalagay. So, false yung Statement 1. Statement 2, the auditor should document in the audit working papers the understanding obtained of the internal control systems. Tama naman yan. Statement 3, there will always be some control risk because of the inherent limitations of internal control. Tama din. So, we cannot fully eliminate control risk. False, true, true. Letter A for number 20. Number 21, under which of the following circumstances is a disclaimer of opinion inappropriate? So, yung A, B, and D, pwede kang mag-disclaimer dyan, pero yung letter C, the financial statements fail to contain adequate disclosures, qualified or adverse yan. So, letter C for number 21. Number 22, which of the following observations made during the preliminary survey of a department store's disbursement cycle reflects a control strength? Alin daw dito yung strength sa internal control? So, tingnan natin yung choices. A, individual department managers use pre-numbered forms to order merchandise. Okay sana. Pero hindi yung individual department managers ang bahala sa pag-order. Ang in charge dyan is the purchasing department. So, mali yan. Letter B, the receiving department is given a copy of the PO complete with a description. Mali na yan. Dapat yung purchase order sa receiving department, dapat blank yun. Blank PO, wala nakasulat. Para yung receiving department clerk, siya yung bahala magsulat dun sa blank PO. Letter D, mali din. Individual department managers are responsible for the movement of merchandise. Mali. Ang bahala dyan sa inventory or warehouse department. C yung control strength dito. The treasurer's office prepares checks or para sa disbursements based on vouchers prepared by the accounts payable department. So, separate yan. Yung treasury department and the accounts payable department. Letter C for number 22. Number 23, of the following procedures, which best supports the valuation objective? Alam natin class yung valuation dito. Letter C, performing a lower of carrying or recoverable amount for asset impairment. Letter C for number 23. 24, which of the following is not a purpose of the independent auditor's report? A, B, and D, lahat yan ay purpose. Letter C, hindi. To provide assurance of the effectiveness of internal controls. O mali yan. Okay? Una, walang assurance sa internal controls. Ang mas concern natin is the reliability of the financial statements. Number 25, which section of the independent auditor's report outlines the framework used to prepare the FS or yung PFRS, yung framework natin? Makikita mo yan under management's responsibility section. Letter B for number 25. Number 26, which of the following is not a typical responsibility of the auditor as described in the auditor's responsibilities? Ang hindi responsibility ni auditor is letter D. Preparing and presenting the FS because ang may responsibility niyan is the management. Letter D for number 26. Number 27, which of the following is not an appropriate method for testing the operating effectiveness of controls? So kapag TOC, IIOR, Inquiry, Inspection, Observation, Performance, tama yung A, B, and C. Ang mali dyan yung calculation of financial ratios, analytical procedures yan, substantive testing. Letter D for number 27. 28, when the auditor determines that a control is not operating effectively, which of the following is not an appropriate, which of the following is the most appropriate course of action? So, ibig sabihin, not operating effectively, mataas yung control risk, bababa yung detection risk. Ibig sabihin, i-modify natin yung nature, timing, and extent of substantive procedures. Letter C, modify the planned substantive procedures. Letter C for number 28. Number 29, which of the following procedures performed for the billing function provides evidence for the completeness assertion? Complete, o so ibig sabihin, letter C, making sure that all shipments have been billed. So all shipments, so that's for completeness. Letter C for number 29. 30, according to RA 9298, which of the following qualifications is not required for a candidate to be eligible to take the CPA licensure exam? Yung A, C, and D, lahat yan ay qualifications. Yung letter B, hindi necessary yan. Yung must be a resident of the Philippines, hindi. Kasi kahit yung mga OFWs natin, mga reviewees, especially in the Middle East, meron tayong tinatawag na SPLE. So even though nasa Middle East sila, pwede sila mag-take ng CPA licensure exam. Alright? So mali yung letter B na resident of the Philippines. Number 31, a CPA should not accept an engagement if his fee is to be based upon, bawal yung letter D, a percentage of audited net income. Kasi yung audit, assurance service yan. So, ibig sabihin, hindi pwede, hindi allowed yung contingent fee. So, mali yung letter D, a percentage of audited net income. Okay? Number 32, a partner of the firm serving as an officer or as a director of the board of the assurance client will most likely create. So, yung partner ng audit firm is member of the board of directors ni client. So, si partner siya yung in charge sa pag-audit ng FS. So, ibig sabihin, most likely, ang mag-create dito is self-review threat. Letter B for number 32. Okay? Number 33, which of the following situations most likely could lead to an embezzlement or fraud? Okay? Punta ka sa letter C. Access to blank checks and signature plates. Tama ba class? Yung access, ibig sabihin nun, iyan yung custody. Okay? Is restricted to the cash disbursements bookkeeper. Kapag bookkeeper naman, iyan yung recording. So, ibig sabihin, yung custody and recording, magkasama sa isa lang. Okay? So, mali yun. Dapat properly segregated sila. So, yung letter C, mayroong conflict of interest. Okay? Dun sa function sila, possible na mag-lead sa embezzlement or fraud. Number 34, an auditor concludes that the client's illegal act, which is a material effect on the financial statements, has not been properly accounted for or disclosed. Depending on the materiality of the effect, the auditor should express either end. So kapag material yung misstatement, depende, materiality and pervasiveness, letter B, qualified or adverse. Number 34, letter B. Number 35, when a client will not make essential corporate minutes available to the auditor, the audit report will probably contain, so yung minutes or yung minutes of the meetings ng board of directors or mga officers, pwede kasing evidence yan ni auditor. So ibig sabihin, kung hindi yan ipoprovide ni client, meron tayong scope limitation, which will lead to a disclaimer of opinion. Letter D for number 35. Number 36, which of the following is least likely to be included in an agreed upon procedures attestation engagements. So, pag agreed upon, we know dapat restricted yan. Okay? Mali yung letter B kasi nakalagay, use of the report is unrestricted. Mali yan, dapat restricted. Letter B for number 36. Okay? Number 37, the term professional accountant in public practice includes the following except yung letter A, B, and D, public practice yan. Yung letter C, professional accountants employed in the public sector. Okay sana kasi public sector, having managerial responsibilities. Mali yan. Kapag managerial responsibilities, hindi na public sector yan. Private na yan. Or yung commerce and industry. Okay? Letter C for number 37. Number 38, other factors remaining constant. The audit risk is increased by an increase in, so sagot ko dito, detection risk. Letter D. Kasi alam natin class, based on the audit risk formula, audit risk is equal to inherent risk times control risk times detection risk. Pag tumaas yung detection risk, tataas din yung audit risk natin. Number 39, when developing the overall audit strategy for the audit, the auditor will, so alam natin kapag overall audit strategy, scope, timing, direction. So yung direction na yun, ang effect niyan, ang possible is letter B, determine if any outside experts will be required. Okay, letter B for number 39. Number 40, which of the following best explains the relationship between general controls and application controls? So we learned in IT audit, ang unang muna natin na i-audit or i-test is yung general controls. After that, yung application controls. Letter B, application controls are likely to be effective only when the general controls are effective. Letter B for number 40. Number 41, when determining whether an exception is highly material, the extent to which the exception affects different parts of the FS, this concept is referred to as, alam natin, ang tawag natin dyan is pervasiveness. Letter C for number 41. Number 42, a qualified opinion is appropriate when the auditor is satisfied the overall FSR. Kapag qualified opinion, yung financial statements are still fairly stated. Okay? Kaya lang may exception. Right? So, except for. Kaya sagot mo dyan, letter C. FSR fairly stated but there is a material exception. Letter C for number 42. Number 43, an auditor wishes to test the completeness assertion for sales. So, kapag completeness, tracing yan. Which of the following audit tests would most likely accomplish this objective? Letter A, select a sample of shipments occurred during the year and trace each one to the inclusion to the sales journal. Letter A, tracing. Sagot natin dyan for number 43. Okay, number 44, tests for unrecorded assets typically involve tracing for. So kapag unrecorded, tinetest natin yung completeness. Okay, kapag completeness, tracing. Mag-start tayo sa individual supporting documents to the accounting records. So letter C, source documents to recorded journal entries. Letter C for number 44. Okay. Number 45, sampling risk can lead to two types of erroneous conclusions. In the case of test of controls, that controls are more effective than they actually are. So ang tawag natin dyan, risk of assessing control risk too low, okay? Or in the case of a test of details that a material misstatement does not exist when in fact it does. So ibig sabihin, ang tawag naman natin dyan is incorrect acceptance. Tingnan natin. Statement 1, this type of erroneous conclusion affects audit efficiency. Mali yan, dapat effectiveness. Bakit sir? Kasi kapag incorrect acceptance, ibig sabihin, ang conclusion natin is reliable yung FS pero hindi pala. So makaka-apekto yan sa effectiveness ng audit natin kasi mali yung opinion na mabibigay natin. So false yung statement 1. Statement 2, the auditor is primarily concerned with this type of erroneous conclusion because it affects effectiveness. Tama naman yun. And is more likely to lead in an appropriate audit opinion. So false and true. Letter B, only statement 2 is true for number 45. 46, which of the following conditions necessitates a larger sample size? High level of detection risk. Pag high level yung detection risk natin, okay, syempre, bababa yung sample size natin. Bababa yung konting itetest natin. Alright? So, ibig sabihin, mali yan. Low, yung letter A is low yan. Okay? Letter B naman, a low frequency of misstatement. Pag konti lang yung misstatements na ini-expect natin, mas konti lang itetest natin. Yung letter D, a low assessed level of control risk. Pag mababa yung control risk natin, okay, tataas mo yung detection risk. Ibig sabihin, mas konti itetest natin. Ang sagot mo dito, letter C, a low level of tolerable misstatement because merong inverse relationship yan. Pag mababa yung tolerable misstatement, mataas yung sample size natin. Letter C for number 46. 47, which of the following objectives is of least concern for auditors of financial statements? Yung least concern dito, among the choices, ay yung letter C. Customer orders are subject to the approval by the warehouse department after checking the availability of goods. Hindi yung warehouse department na nag-approve. Dalawa nag-approve dyan, yung credit department and inventory department. Sa inventory, may record siya kung meron pa bang enough inventories dun sa warehouse. Alright? So letter C tayo for number 47. 48, its mission is the promulgation of auditing standards. Take note, auditing standards. Practices and procedures, AASC. Auditing and Assurance Standards Council, letter C for number 48. Professional judgment, punta ka sa letter C, is necessary in the evaluation of the use of management's estimates in applying the IFRS. 49, letter C. Number 50, a supervisor terminated an hourly worker but did not notify the payroll department. The supervisor then forged the worker's signatures on time cards and work tickets, and when giving out the checks, diverted the payroll checks drawn from the terminated worker to its own use. So, ibig sabihin, merong fictitious employee. The most effective procedure for preventing this activity is to, ang pinaka-effective dito, class, para ma-prevent natin yung payment of checks to the fictitious employees, letter B, have a paymaster who has no other payroll responsibility distributes the payroll checks. Ibig sabihin, merong separate person, yung paymaster, which is separate from the supervisor, siya bahala mag-distribute ng payroll checks. Okay? So, letter B yan for number 50. Yung letter C naman, ang nagpamali sa letter C, have someone other than persons who prepare or distribute the payroll obtain custody of unclaimed payroll checks. So, yung unclaimed lang, paano kung gawin ng supervisor, i-claim niya yung check para sa fictitious employee. So, hindi pa rin madedetect yun. Okay? Ang makaka-prevent lang yan is letter B. Yung letter C, hindi niya mape-prevent yan. Number 51, a CPA has been engaged to perform review services. Identify which of the following is a correct statement. Okay? So, mali yung A, B, and C. Bakit, sir? Yung A, the CPA must perform the basic audit procedures in the audit yan. Review pinag-uusapan natin. Letter B naman, the FS are primarily representations of the management, hindi CPA. The CPA may prepare the FS, hindi. Si management lang, bahala dyan. The CPA, letter D, is performing engagement which necessitates independence. Tama naman, kapag review, assurance engagement kasi yan. Dapat independency o si CPA. Okay, so letter D for number 51. 52, before assessing control risk at a lower level than the maximum, the auditor obtains reasonable assurance that controls are used and operating effectively. The assurance is most likely obtained in part by, okay, so TOC tayo dito, IIOR, Inquiry, Inspection, Observation, Performance. Meron dito, letter D, Inspection of Documents. 52, letter D. 53, which of the following statements about the chairman and members of the BOA is correct? A, no person shall serve in the board for more than 12 years. Letter B, no one who has served 2 consecutive full terms is eligible for reappointment. An appointment to fill an unexpired term is not treated as a full term. So, mali lahat. Letter D, none of the above, for number 53. 54, in applying the system of quality management in audit, this means that an auditor recognizes that circumstances may exist which cause the financial statements to be materially misstated. Displaying this characteristic assumes that the management is neither honest nor dishonest. Professional skepticism. Letter A, the auditor is a professional skeptic. Number 55, this is a type of computer-assisted audit techniques or CAATs which shifts control over processing to the auditor by using, so pagagamitin natin is the client software to process auditor paper data. Ang tawag natin dyan, test data. Letter A for number 55. 56, the report that contains an unqualified opinion with emphasis of matter paragraph. Kapag unqualified opinion, even though may emphasis of matter, yung emphasis of matter hindi naman nakaka-apekto yan sa type of opinion. So letter A meets the definition of a full audit with satisfactory results. Letter A for number 56. Number 57, based on the principles of Code of Professional Ethics, best answer dito, letter D. When providing auditing and other assurance services, all members of public practice should be independent in fact and appearance. So, basta assurance service, dapat independent. Letter D for number 57. 58, a CPA is engaged as an audit of a retail client. The receivable balances are relatively small and customers are billed monthly. As a result of this evaluation, he concluded that the controls are effective to determine the validity of AR. At the balance sheet date, the CPA would most likely, syempre kapag small balances, okay, negative confirmation yan, alright? And then, ang itetest natin sa negative confirmation is existence. Actually, pwede yung rights and obligations, pwede rin yan. Pero among the choices, Ang fit dyan is letter B, send negative confirmation requests, and then existence assertion. Letter B for number 58. Okay, number 59. Evaluate the following specific inventory count procedures as regards to related assertions. Number 1, auditor selects an inventory item from the warehouse, then checks if the item is in the account sheet and the accounting records. So, titignan natin if completely recorded ba yan, completeness. Auditor selects an inventory item from the account sheet and accounting records, then physically locates the item inside the warehouse. So, check natin if actually existing physically yung item. So, sagot mo dyan, completeness and existence respectively. Letter C for number 59. Number 60. The following except 1 is always present in assurance engagement. Select the exception. Yung A, C, and D, lahat yan ay present sa assurance engagement. Yung letter B, hindi. Yung consideration of internal control, kasi kapag review, yung review, assurance engagement yan eh. Kapag review, hindi naman tayo nagpe-perform ng understanding and testing of internal controls. So, letter B for number 60. 61. Which of the following most likely describes the process of walkthrough? Yung walkthrough, yan yung sa understanding of internal controls. Letter D tayo. Following a transaction from its origination until it is reflected in the financial statements. Letter D for number 61. Number 62. Which of the following situations represents a limitation rather than a failure of internal control? Lahat to actually fraud yan, no? Pero ang limitation kasi na internal control, an example yan is collusion. Ang collusion dito is letter C. A purchasing employee and an outside vendor participate in a kickback scheme. So may collusion sila. Letter C, inherent limitation yan ng internal control. Number 63, an increase in the risk of material misstatement would lead to which of the following responses? Kapag sabi mo risk of material misstatement, yan yung inherent and control risk. So pag mataas yung inherent and control risk natin, bababa yung detection risk, mas marami tayong itetest na transactions. Letter A, increase the extent of audit procedures. A for number 63. 64, which phase of the audit below comes last? Alin dito yung sa latter part pa natin gagawin? Well, test of account balances, substantive testing. Okay? So, mas mauuna yung client acceptance, understanding the client, and testing internal controls. Letter D for number 64. Number 65, the preliminary engagement activities of an audit engagement for an audit firm do not include yung A, C, and D, lahat yan ay under preliminary engagement activities. While yung letter B, setting of preliminary estimate of materiality, planning stage na yan. Okay? Letter B for number 65. Okay, so yun yung mga theories natin. And then, meron tayong long problem. So, 5 items. So, tingnan natin. Let's take a look at the questions first. For tingnan natin. Number 66, how much daw yung audited cash and cash equivalents? 67, trade and other receivables. 68, inventories. 69, PPE. And 70, intangible assets. So, nilagay ko sila dito. Okay? And then, let's read the given. Presented below is the asset section of CPA Corp Statement of Financial Position as of December 31. So, nilagay ko na lang yung hinahanap sa atin. Okay? So, meron tayong cash and cash equivalents, 2.1 million. Trade and other receivables, 4.2 million. Inventories, 5.3. And then, PPE, 7,910. Intangible assets, 2,280. Yan yung mga unadjusted balances natin. During the course of your audit, you noted the following. So, basahin natin. Start muna tayo sa cash and cash equivalents. Take note ang nakalagay dyan, the following were included. Sinama lahat to. Okay, sinama lahat yan. Number 1, credit card receipts representing credit sales on December 31, 90,000 to be paid on January 31. Next year pa babayaran. Accounts receivable yan. So, ang gagawin natin, tanggalin natin yung 90,000 sa cash and cash equivalents, ilagay natin sa trade and other receivables. Number 2, cryptocurrencies. Okay, 360. Pero sabi dyan, these are not held for sale in the ordinary course of business. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya inventory. And then, nor for investment purposes. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya investments. Okay? So, paano mo i-categorize or i-classify yung cryptocurrency? Well, pwede mo siya i-classify as intangible asset. So, tanggalin natin siya sa cash and cash equivalents, ilagay natin siya sa intangible assets. Okay? Next, cash set aside for retirement of bonds payable. As we know, in FAR, kailangan i-mirror mo yan. So, yung bonds payable is non-current liability. Dapat yung cash set aside para sa bonds payable is non-current asset. So, tanggalin natin siya dito sa cash and cash equivalents. Next, 6-month time deposit, well, pwede mo siyang 6 months kasi, so hindi siya pasok sa definition ng cash equivalent. So, pwede mo siyang ilagay sa other current assets. So, tanggalin mo siya yung 100,000. Customers check for 65,000 dated January 2, received on December 29. So, post-dated check to. Ibig sabihin, accounts receivable pa siya. So, minus 65, and then don't forget na i-add siya sa trade and other receivable. Customers NSF check, same thing. Tanggalin natin siya sa cash and cash equivalents. Don't forget na i-add siya sa trade and other receivables. Okay? Punta naman tayo sa inventories. The following were included. So, in-include to lahat na nasa bullet points. Number 1, equipment held for sale in accordance with PFRS 5 at carrying amount 52,000. So, nilagay siya at 52,000. Tanggalin mo yan. Kasi kapag held for sale, other current assets mo siya ilalagay. So, tanggalin natin yung 52,000 sa inventory. Next, goods held on consignment. So, tayo si consignee, hindi sa atin yung inventory. Minus 36,000 yan. Goods out on consignment, tayo naman si consignor, in-include natin. So, tama lang. Okay? Walang kailangan adjustment kasi in-include those lahat na nasa bullet points. Next, goods in transit to customers. Tayo yung seller. Ship FOB shipping point. Okay? So, shinip na, ibig sabihin, hindi na sa atin yun. Pero nakalagay kasi included. So, i-add back muna natin. So, in-include, sorry. So, goods in transit to customer ship FOB shipping point. Hindi na sa atin yun. Pero nakalagay, in-include daw siya. So, tanggalin mo yan, 87. The related sales on account of 104,400 was recorded in 2025. Take note, ang year-end natin dito is 2024. Na-ship mo na under FOB shipping point, considered as sales na yan. So, dapat i-record mo siya 2024. Ang recording natin, debit AR, credit sales. So, yung 104,400, idagdag mo sa accounts receivable. Okay? Next, goods in transit to customer ship FOB destination. Hindi pa dumadating kay customer. Take note, included daw lahat yan. So, tama lang, in-include yung 73,000. The related sales on account was recorded in 2025. Hindi pa naman sale kasi hindi pa nare-receive ni customer. Tama rin yung recording for the 87,600. So, no adjustment necessary for this bullet point. Okay? Office supplies, 12,000. Tanggalin mo siya. Lagay mo yun sa other current assets. Tanggalin mo sa inventories siya. Next, intangible assets. This line item includes the following. Patents, trademarks, tama yan. Cost of training employees, expense yan. Tanggalin natin yung 200. PPE muna pala tayo dun sa letter C. Property, plant, and equipment. This line item includes the following. Office building, tama yan. Factory building, yes. Building occupied by employees, tama din yan. Land held for a currently undetermined future use. Pag hindi mo pa alam kung ano yung paggagamitan mo ng property, ang assumption natin dyan is for investment purposes or capital appreciation, which is an investment property. So, yung 1.2 million, tanggalin natin sa PPE yan. Delivery vehicles, equipment for rentals to others under operating lease, bearer plants. Okay, for example, mga mango trees, coconut trees, PPE ang classification yan. Magiging biological assets lang kapag consumable, such as mga vegetables. Pero kapag bearer plants, PPE yan. So, tama yung ginawa niya dyan. Ang mali lang dyan, yung investment property. So, ito lang yung adjustment natin for PPE. Okay, doon mo tayo sa intangible assets. Patents, trademarks, walang problema. Cost of training employees, expense, kaya tinanggal ko siya, minus 280. Next natin is research and development costs. Kapag silent na ganyan, expense yung mga R&D, minus 880. Organization cost, expense din yan, minus 310. The entity cannot distinguish the research phase from the development. So, kaya in-expense natin yung 880. Alright? So, ngayon, pag in-add natin siya, okay, nireflect natin yung adjustments, ang magiging adjusted balances natin for cash and cash equivalents, 1,432,000. That's why for number 66, cash and cash equivalents, letter B, 1,432,000. For number 67, trade and other receivables, makukuha mo dyan class is 4,479,400, which is letter D. Next natin, inventory, you will get adjusted balance of 5,113,000, which is letter A for number 68. For PPE naman, adjusted balance natin is 6,710,000, which is letter D for number 69. And then, last one natin, intangible assets. Ang magiging adjusted balance mo is 1,170,000, which is letter C. Okay? So, ayan. So, B, D, A, D, C. Ayan. So, that's it for auditing final reports.